Sock story. We could keep that part for the real recording.
Sure.
You want to have extra bonus section?
I think this whole thing is bonus section.
Okay.
We're just letting it rip.
Yeah, we are. We didn't
Let the
notice
whole
that
thing
it
roll.
still said off air at the top.
Right.
Oh, man. I'm a bad moderator. Okay. Anyway.
Right.
Hey, welcome again.
Welcome.
We just recorded about what 5 minutes without actually recording.
Yeah, give or take. That's all right. That's
So
all right.
good. So Jamesafin, which we came to the conclusion of during our 5 minutes that we didn't record. Um, you wear black socks, which is better because you don't wear white socks.
Yes.
And you were talking about how you can't find a mate for them. Why is it? That confuses me.
Well, let me elaborate here.
Okay.
Here's the problem I'm running into. Is I have a batch of socks in rotation that I probably started about 6 months ago or so,
Mhm.
and I've more recently added in identical style socks into the mix, maybe 3 4 weeks ago. So the problem is the 6 month old socks have been laundered more often.
Yeah,
So
there's
the color match
faded.
isn't quite there.
Hmm.
So even though all my socks are the exact same color and style sock, they're not really the same color.
Jamesafin.
And now I have to like go outside into daylight and like, get a photo spectrometer and determine the dye properties of one sock to the next so that I can mate them properly.
Do you really care that much about your socks matching?
I care enough that this is a concern.
It seems to be.
Yes.
Listen, people aren't going to look at your feet that much. You have shoes on them.
That's true. This
You
is
also
true.
have pants that cover most of the sock.
Hmm.
You
At
really
least
only
in
see about
theory,
that much
yes.
of the sock, maybe,
That's
if you're
hmm.
sitting.
See, this is the kind of wisdom and sparkle that you bring to the show.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We talked about Sparkle. Hey, this could be like an unintended bonus. Hey, you should subscribe to the podcast on iTunes because you get a whole other conversation.
Right. Yeah.
So don't just watch the
Totally.
video.
Yeah,
There's bonus material on the audio podcast.
for sure. So what's going on with you? What's new?
I have socks on that don't have holes in them, which is very rare because my feet are really large, and every sock that I own has a hole in the big toe. In the big toe. My toe is sticking out all the time.
Do you have an especially pointed toe?
I have a big toe.
You have a large big toe.
Yeah, so like the heel of the sock doesn't go on my heel.
Okay.
So it stretches. I don't know. So I have holes in my socks, and I purposefully picked these ones this morning because they didn't have holes in them. And I'm sick and tired of having holes in my socks.
Well, that's very classy.
I asked for some for Christmas.
Yeah,
I
that's
need new
good.
socks.
I'm asking for a snow scraper, an ice
Oh,
scraper for my car.
like a crazy good one.
Yeah, because I broke mine last year.
I broke mine too, but then I bought a new one.
Yeah. See, I didn't buy a new one
Yeah.
because I don't have my priorities in order in
No,
life.
well, you have black socks, and that's good.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's new with me? Just school. I have some cool stuff going on that in that realm of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I saw Interstellar. Holy jeez.
Tell me about that a little bit. I haven't seen
You
it.
see
Give
it?
us a little spoiler free here.
Jamesafin, you need to see it.
I know. I'm such a slacker.
Listen, I need to see it again in IMAX because I didn't. And as far as I know, there's only one near us, and that's Crocker Park, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like far from me now. So, do you know of any other IMAX theater?
Isn't there one on Route 8 down by the Quaker Steak and Lube?
If so, that's awesome because that's closer to me.
Yeah.
What like city is that in?
Um, I forget what that's called.
Oh my
I
God,
should know.
that would be awesome.
I should know.
I'll
It's
look at
down
the
at
Quaker
you know where the
Standard.
480, the big 480 bridge is, right?
Yeah, that's
This
like
week on Cleveland Geography. Uh,
that's like so close to me.
it's down in there. Yeah.
Oh, like Independence, like
Is
where that melt is that we went to. Remember?
yeah, it's like an exit up from that.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
Northfield or something. No, I don't know. Anyway,
No,
cool.
yeah.
Um,
It's there. It's
I'm gonna
there.
look. Oh my God, that's awesome. Are you
Yeah, I
sure
think there's a
it's IMAX?
pretty sure they have an IMAX there.
Sweet, because I don't want to go all the way to Crocker Park.
Yeah.
Cleveland talk. So no, I saw it. Okay, dude, dude. And this is gonna be only pronounced more when I see it in IMAX. You know those like rides at Disney World where you sit in the theater and the theater like moves and they do like air on you and like the alien one?
Mhm.
Like and you feel like you're there in the movie.
Mhm.
They did that for Alien, they did that for Honey I Shrunk the Kids, which scared the both of those scared the bejeebus out of me when I was a kid. There's a part in the Honey I Shrunk the Kids thing where there's like a whole like swarm of mice, and they made air puffs go under your feet. I felt like
Oh,
it was
yeah.
not good. So anyway, so Interstellar doesn't have effects like that in the theater, but it basically makes you feel like you're there, like you feel like you're in space the whole time. It's so awesome, and like the a lot of the shots, the cinematography are just kind of like real, like almost like documentary style. Like they're just really like science specific, you know?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
there's a lot of videos, and like I'm sure when it's released there'll be like bonus material and interviews and stuff because they have some of them on YouTube already. Um, where they had like a executive producer, Kip Thorne, who's a astrophysicist,
Mhm.
and he helped them design like the black hole and stuff because like the black hole is a big major like plot point to the movie.
Right.
So they had him like help with, and they made like equations and all. They designed it to be exact in science.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
so it really is what people have calculated a black hole to look like. And they even said like in the video that they were willing to like kind of spruce it up for Hollywood a little bit, but they didn't even have to because it was so crazy looking already. And so like, and the cool thing about it, they were like, we wanted to spruce it up to make it look more like understandable to the average audience person. But it already looked so clear that like there was really no need to clarify anything
Hmm.
by changing it.
Okay.
So it's like it's really cool. The visual stuff is like so awesome. So way cool. And the like it's just like so I don't know, like it's one of those movies that when you leave you feel like your life is different, you know?
Mhm.
It was like I was kind of equating it like the last time I felt that way, and it wasn't even this much. Like this movie made me feel that way even more, but the last time I felt that way was when I came out of Return of the King,
Oh,
because
wow.
it was just like, oh my God, uh, like when I left
Mhm.
that movie, I was.
Right.
I mean, I think part of it had to do with the fact that it was like a trilogy and it was so epic, and we were all waiting like a year every time, and like
Mhm.
in school, like me and my friends, like I went to a little all girls school and we all were like there was like a whole group of us that were like obsessed with it. And we put like little countdowns on our lockers and like, it was like super epic. And like everything was just like we were just so nerdy all the time about it. And it was just when I left that movie, I was just like ugh, and like I cried a lot during Return of the King, but I didn't cry during Interstellar for some reason. Probably just because I was sitting there like the whole time.
Overwhelmed. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like completely like, uh, it was so good. It was so you have to see it in the theater. You cannot wait.
Okay.
You have to see it in the theater because I feel like part of the reason why it was so amazing was just like the epic scale of it.
Right. Right.
It's so good. Like I can't imagine watching it on a TV.
Yeah.
I mean, I will. I'll probably do that. But
Mhm.
and I want to see it again. I haven't felt that way about a movie in a long time either. Like I immediately want to go back and see it right now.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I read couple of weeks ago, like right before it came out, that Christopher Nolan was basically saying, like, yeah, the best way to see this movie is a 70 millimeter print, so the actual film print. And then
Wow.
the second best way is to see it in IMAX. And then the third best way is to see it in 35 millimeter film. And then the least preferred way, still good, but least preferred way is just a standard
Oh man, I
digital
can't
projection.
imagine if that's the case. Like, it's gonna be so epic to
Yeah,
see it in IMAX.
yeah. Yeah, I need to go. I need to go check it out because it's been a long time since I've really like, in fact, I can't even remember what's the last movie I saw in IMAX.
I don't even
Uh,
remember what it
Probably
like.
Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Really?
Yeah. So we're
I,
talking 10 years now.
yeah, it's been. I don't even know if I've ever seen anything in IMAX
Yeah.
except for like at the Great Lakes Science Center, which is totally different.
Hmm.
But no, the thing about it too is like lately, like the only movies I've really seen are like superhero movies, and like those are awesome and they're really cool to see and I love seeing them.
Hmm.
But I haven't seen a movie that like blew my mind in a long time.
Right.
It was like a really good like I just needed that to like clarify that life is really awesome.
Hmm. Hmm.
and and that's the other thing. You leave it feeling like proud of humanity. Like you leave it being like, you know what? Everything is great. Like instead of a lot of Christopher Nolan's movies where you are like, life sucks, like the Joker, like
Right. Right.
everything is dark. And like, I don't know, when I left that, I was like, oh my God, it's
Hmm.
incredible. Like I wish I was a physicist. I wish like all these kind of
Right.
things. So many interesting things to think about. Like you can't possibly cover it all at once, and it's just like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we need more of that in life.
I do too.
Those movies that kind of uplift
Yeah.
and inspire.
And it's weird because it doesn't uplift like in a traditional way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will make it a point in the next week or two
I'll
to go
check
check
in.
it out. Yeah. Yeah.
I will check in on you to make sure you're doing that.
All right. Fair enough.
Cool.
So we are gathered here today, dearly beloved. We're gathered here today to talk about uh, a man and another man and their landlord or landlordess,
Landlady.
as it were, landlady. Yes. At a specific address in London.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that address? It can only be one thing.
Isn't it 221 Baker
It's
Street?
221 Baker Street.
Yes. Oh
Yes.
my God. Yeah, that's it. That's the
Yeah.
one. I knew that.
Yeah.
Uh,
So today we're talking about Sherlock.
Jamesafin. I'm gonna always call you that. James, fin, like a dolphin fin. Um, So we have gotten more requests to talk about this GD show than any other show in the
Yep.
universe.
Yeah.
Like I can't. People are coming up to me in real life and being like, "When are you gonna do Sherlock?" Like it's happening. This is
It's here.
yeah.
It's happening.
Well, we've spent 15 minutes talking about socks and
Right.
movies, and now we're doing it. We're
Yeah. Yeah. People are probably screaming at
doing it already.
their iPods or whatever, going, "Just talk about the fucking show now."
Yeah, I just pictured like a classic iPod. I was like, those don't get podcasts. You
Yeah.
have to. I guess they did. You had to upload them. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's so requested. Like we got a lot of X-Files requests too. Remember, but
We did.
not
Yes.
as many as Sherlock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it about Sherlock? Let's talk about this first. What is it about
Okay.
Sherlock that makes everyone want to talk about it all the time?
Well, I think for one thing, Sherlock is one of these. these classic characters. Okay,
Mhm.
much like Shakespeare and all of the adaptations that have occurred for Shakespeare over hundreds of years. Sherlock is going to be one of those characters that endures for hundreds of years from now.
Mhm.
So there's a timelessness to the character, and I think I think the great thing about Sherlock is just in general as a character is it's someone who is so ridiculously smart and clever that we can't help but be hooked in by that.
Like in awe of it, kind of.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, uh, Sherlock the person is really flawed,
Right. And
and we should talk more about that. But
yeah.
um, I think it's just a classic character, and the reason why this show is so popular and resonates with people so well is it takes all of the great things about the character and his scenarios and the surrounding characters and places them into a modern context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the like the kicker. The modern context part of it, I think, is also one thing that people really like.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about this on the podcast maybe a few episodes ago. Yeah, probably when we were talking about X-Files or something. I don't know. Um, where like one of my biggest pet peeves is like how shows don't like utilize technology to move the plot forward. Like a lot of problems on TV shows could just be solved if you just texted the person or like called them on their cell phone to see where they were. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
And like it gets really frustrating when they don't do that. And that's one thing I think that's really cool about Sherlock. It does utilize the technology to like add to the plot or, like he has the blog, like he's got like he texts all the time. He's always like using his phone to like look, they look things up or GPS or whatever, and that kind of thing is like I mean that is realistic. So I think that's cool that they do that. I think
Right.
people enjoy that it feels like, it's this timeless character that could possibly exist now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Because they've taken the parts of him out that are like real like heavy in like historical fiction or whatever. And they've
Mhm.
they've kind of like taken those out and put them in this world. Um and I think that's why people really latch onto it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. And kind of going back to how they use technology in the show and kind of what you were saying, um, you're so right that most TV shows these days either use technology in an extremely absurd way, or what they have to do is they have to constantly explain why something can't be solved with a telephone call or
Right.
a text message.
It's like what the heck?
Yeah. And so what's nice about how Sherlock works is they use technology in the show, but not in a ridiculous like CSI kind of way.
Enhance it.
Right. Now they have interesting visualizations in the show of how they're using the technology, but in essence, they really are just like Googling things or texting. Yeah, there's a little bit of like hackery stuff
hmm
going on that
Like
maybe is a little bit
right, but it's whatever
outlandish, but it's
av-
still
the average Jamesafin would do in life.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what makes it really cool. And I think like cuz you're saying like they sometimes like other shows will like make excuses as to why the texting won't work. makes me just feel like the people writing these shows are like all a bunch of like old people that don't use technology, and they just are like, it'll never work that way, and they just like write it out of the story. It's like so stupid. Like, get creative and start writing things that involve real life, which is texting and like, Twitter and stuff. Like, people use that in real life, and like, I mean, I've met people online that, I mean, it's like that kind of stuff happens all the time.
Right.
Like, it needs to be more a part of a show, which I think
Right.
they do really well. And like you said, the visuals are super cool with like the writing on the screen and stuff. It's like
Mm-hmm.
definitely really cool. Totes. Why else do you think people like are totally into this show?
They like Benedict Cumberbatch.
I think that might be it.
I think that's a good part of it.
Although this is
But
a
not
whole
the
like
whole
chicken
thing.
and egg thing. This is a chicken and
Right.
egg thing. Do they like him because of Sherlock, or do they like Sherlock because of him? I don't know. Because he's not like traditionally hot guy. He's totally British looking.
Right.
Got a
But it
big.
isn't it the voice though?
I don't know. Every British guy has a voice like that, don't they?
I guess. I
Like,
mean,
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he's super attractive, but like, I
yeah.
think he might be attractive because of the roles that they put him in. I don't know,
Right. Yeah.
like, and now like he's like mainstream, so more people really like him.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It's a chicken and egg thing. I think I
Yeah.
might get a lot of screaming, angry girls knock on my door after this.
Well, I think at the very least it's fair to say that um, there are plenty of people who are attracted to the show specifically because of him, and plenty of people, as you said, who discovered him through the show, but the show was like their primary driving force.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a great actor.
Mhm.
I think Martin Freeman as Watson
Mhm.
deserves just as much credit.
Oh yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
he's fabulous.
Especially in
Um,
the first episode, like if
oh
we're gonna
yeah,
get specific, I think
yeah,
he's really awesome. How
yeah.
he like has that psycho limp thing that,
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
and he just, I don't know, he just like really pulls off like the stunned, like, what the heck is this guy doing? I don't know. And you could tell that he has like trauma in there, but he doesn't want to talk about it. Like, he's definitely he's a really good actor, and he can like pull off the background story really well
Right,
without like,
right.
you know, the exposition of it. Uh,
Yeah, and the show's kind of told from his perspective.
yeah, because isn't he the one that writes the blog? Am I? Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's like it is kind of almost like Watson's tale of Sherlock.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think that's another reason why people really like the show is the actors are really awesome.
yeah.
And like n- especially now like that the show has really taken off and it's really famous, and like the people in the show are like also acting in major blockbusters, and like that's probably another reason why people really like it. And I think that's really cool how it's like the BBC style like uh mini-series almost thing where they have like longer episodes and there's only 4 or 5 for every season or something, you know. And I think that's cool because they shoot it all like in a condensed period of the year, and then they have time to do other like blockbuster movies and stuff, and um people are attracted to the show because they know the faces.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot to that. And along those same lines, this really uh, the BBC method, or the British method of television production really works in favor for this show, because um, if you think about American TV, up until maybe the last 5-10 years or so, you pretty much had in Hollywood TV actors and movie actors,
Hmm.
And if you're a movie TV, at least certainly not very often.
Hmm.
Now that's kind of changing here to where you have people like James Spader who are doing a show and have had great success on the big screen. But for the most part, it's kind of like two separate things, two separate disciplines.
Yeah.
But whereas in British film and television production, um, they don't nearly have that kind of boundary.
Yeah.
So you do film, you do TV, you do stage. It's all just acting and all just performing.
Yeah.
And I think what's great about it in this situation is it lets people uh, of the fame level that Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman have, it gives them that opportunity to go ahead and make a TV show while still doing all of their big film work.
Yeah.
Um, but then the other thing too is with Sherlock, you only get 3 episodes a season.
Yes, three. Yeah, I was saying
Yeah.
four, but that's not even right. Yeah.
And they're basically 90-minute movies.
Yeah, they're three movies. Yeah.
I almost yes, it's a TV show, but in a lot of ways, it's almost more movie than it is. Like if this wasn't released on the BBC or for us PBS, and it was just like once a year or twice a year, you'd go to the movie theater to see Sherlock. You probably wouldn't think anything of it. You just think, oh, we're going to go see the new Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock movie
Hmm.
because they're really produced with a high level of care and production value.
I think that that is something that we should think about here in America because of all the reasons that you said about like actors being able to cross discipline kind of stuff. And like I remember I don't know, maybe it was like 10 years ago or something. Like I remember reading something that was kind of mentioning how like it is starting to happen where like movie stars are now doing TV shows. And like it was like this is a big deal. Like this has never really happened before. And like now you could see like your favorite movie star, like Gillian Anderson would do like TV and then do other things, and like that kind of deal. And it
Right.
hasn't even really been that long that that's been the case. But I think that we should. I mean, so there's that reason why we should think about it, but there's also the reason that like American TV is becoming this like like a compilation of like just filler episodes of just dumb nothingness that like it really frustrates me and I can't even watch things in real time anymore. Like I have to watch things on Netflix or on Hulu or wherever. Like I cannot stand watching TV on TV because like for even like Castle is such a good show, but like I hate that whole like one week you're waiting a week, you see an episode and like you feel like nothing even happened. Like I know that Once Upon a Time, I watched the season opening of Once Upon a Time, back in September, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch this show. I'm gonna wait till it comes on Netflix because it was like I couldn't even believe it was over when it was over because I was like, what even happened just now?
Right.
Like
Right.
nothing even happened. Like they like Elsa or whoever from stupid Frozen, which I still haven't even seen. Uh, they were like there, and then they like chased them, and then that was it. Like it was like what? Like
Right. Right.
they just there's so many like fillers, and with all the commercials, the episode ends up being like 20 minutes long, and it's like 23 episodes of 20-minute episode that like don't say anything until 5 episodes in you finally get something and then like another and it's just like stretched out and there's so much filler and like it would just be so much more entertaining if we could have formats more like the BBC is doing. And the other thing that would be really cool is that we could have more shows and the actors could be doing more things on the side.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
feel like that's so much smarter.
Yeah. No, you totally nailed it because
Yeah, thanks.
American TV is written it's written with very specific act breaks within it because you got to cut to commercial
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
every
you can
8 to
know
10
that it's coming.
minutes.
Yeah, like
And
Sherlock doesn't have that, does it? There's
no,
no like blackouts.
no.
There's
I
no.
mean there's still, writing in acts into a script, or play or whatever. That's something that people do
Yeah.
because that helps serve story,
Right.
and
Totally.
that's how we're used to, uh, in conventional storytelling over the course of hundreds and hundreds of years of literature. Things have been written into multiple acts. I mean, it goes all the way back to how plays are constructed,
Greek
and
plays
so
were the same way. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So thousands of years, really. Um, so that's not quite so much the problem as you have that concept, but then it gets the issue is how it's getting interrupted, and it's getting interrupted by those commercial breaks.
Hmm.
And like you said, in a 60-minute show, you're really only getting about 42 minutes
Hmm.
of actual content. And some TV shows do a really good job of delivering something really satisfying within that framework. But then other shows don't really give you that good, meaty experience within that single episode. And it doesn't really pay off until you've seen maybe 3, 4, 5 episodes in a row.
Yeah. That's hitting the nail on the head right there. That's what pisses me off is that there's nothing that is satisfying unless you commit to watching that show every single week. Like every Tuesday night at this time has to be free or else you're not going to get anything out of this show.
Hmm.
Like that is so stupid. It should be something where I feel like watching TV that night and I turn it on and I'm entertained.
Right.
Like I shouldn't have to know, I shouldn't have to commit to a whole season to get anything out of a
Right.
show.
Right. Or the flip side of that is it has to be so engrossing that you're like, I cannot wait until next Sunday night so I can see uh, Walking Dead or Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones, or, whatever
Hmm.
popular TV show du jour that kind of inspires that allegiance to it.
Hmm.
Um, and so how this ties back to Sherlock is again the show really benefits from that 3 episode per season format. And do I wish there was more Sherlock? Totally. I absolutely wish there was more Sherlock, but it also makes me grateful and appreciative of the amount of it that we do have. And it kind of helps make me look forward to when we get
Well, that's
more.
why, I mean, they always say that like you should always make your audience want more. Like you should never be fully done. Like you should always want more. Well, that's part of the reason why people deal with only seeing 3 episodes a year and then having to wait a whole other year, you know?
Right.
But it's worth it because the episodes are so full of material that you can rewatch them. You don't it's not like watching it once is enough. Like you can rewatch them and you
Right.
can also talk about them. Like that's the thing like you're mentioning like Breaking Bad. I almost said Walking Bad. And
Walking Dead.
Walking
That's
Bad
when I like go outside and trip
and
on the
Breaking
sidewalk.
Bad. Those shows. Like people talk about those. Those I mean I've never seen them because they're intense and I don't like that. Well, I mean I sometimes do. I'm watching Supernatural, which by the way is really awesome. We should cover that.
Yeah.
But those shows are like meaty. Those are pretty meaty, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I'm guessing. And like people talk about them. People have like water cooler discussions about those shows for sure. And that's good. That's a good thing. But I mean, aren't they? Is Breaking Bad's over, and aren't they doing like a spin-off? And like, so it's just kind of like there's always like more of it coming and more of it coming. With Sherlock, it feels more timeless because you're not overdoing it. It's like, let me relate this to fashion. If you're wearing like a huge necklace and huge earrings and huge bracelets, like you're overdoing it. Like there's too much of a good thing, you know? And
Hmm.
it's like the same with like Breaking Bad lasted like really long. And I think a lot of people were saying that towards the end it was like, what the heck, like starting to get pretty crazy. And I think that's the thing. Like they just keep adding more and more. And then there's a spin-off and then there's this and that. And it's like, with Sherlock, I feel like it's just timeless. Like in 20 years, people are gonna watch it and be just as entertained, and it's gonna be like timeless entertainment that is satisfying, and that'll be it. Like
Right.
it'll last longer, I
Right.
think,
Yeah.
because they're not overdoing it.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a huge thing. And if like we talked about Star Trek a lot when we first started this podcast,
Hmm.
and one of the major criticisms of Star Trek is despite the love that so many people have for it, they just kind of kept doing it and
Yeah,
doing it and doing it, and then you'd come out with a new series, and it was like Star Trek Voyager. A lot of
yeah.
people said was like, well, this is just next gen warmed over,
Hmm. It
and
just makes it intimidating for people like me who would love to watch it,
right,
but there's
right,
so much, and it's like my life would be devoted to it. Like I'll
hmm,
never have time.
right, right,
Yeah, and that's a problem. I mean, I think it's like there's something on my screen that is right in my eyeball, and I need to get it off, or else it looks like I have something on my
you
eye.
take care of that. That's
Okay,
okay.
got it. So no, but like Star Wars, I mean, there's a lot of like extra stuff. Like there's the cartoons and the whatever other stuff,
Right,
but it's not. I mean, it's part of the franchise, but it's not like Star Wars, you know. So like people still
right.
talk about Star Wars. There's only been a handful of movies, and yeah, that's another good example of like, let's not make 85 movies. Let's just keep our cool a little bit and let people enjoy what's already out.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah. No, I agree with all of that 100%.
yeah.
100%.
So, I've been kind of like posing some questions on our Facebook and our Twitter about Sherlock. And I'm asking like who is your favorite character and stuff like that. Almost everybody says Sherlock. Like everyone's favorite character is Sherlock. I got one that said Moriarty, who's like totally cray cray, and that's like pretty much everyone thinks Sherlock is the best character on the show. Um, what would you say to that?
Here's here's the thing with that. With when I watch Sherlock and I give really slow
Yeah, I
answers
was like,
to questions.
yeah,
Uh,
the thing.
when I watch the show, I think about Watson like almost as much as I do Sherlock.
Mhm.
Um, because here's this guy who has his own demons from having been in the military and gotten injured, and he's trying to work through that, and um, he just gets thrust into this situation with this guy who's basically crazy.
I
Because
mean,
let's
yeah, like
let's
by
face it,
definition, yeah,
yeah, I mean
yeah.
Sherlock is basically
He's like,
insane. I mean, as the joke, as the ongoing joke in the show goes, um, he'll say, "I'm not a psychopath. I'm a high functioning sociopath."
mhm.
That sort of thing. Um,
He's like a savant.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the thing with Watson is, like, he's totally up for this adventure. There's a
Yeah.
scene. There's a scene in the first episode
Hmm.
where they're just starting to get to know each other, and you know, uh, Sherlock wants to rush off and go investigate something, and Watson is like right there with him. He like
Mhm.
you know jumps up too basically, and is like, yeah, let's
Mhm.
go do this. And then there's that pivotal moment uh, in the episode where they're at the restaurant
Mhm.
and he leaves his cane behind
Mhm.
because
Because
they're
they
rushing
want,
out to chase down the taxi.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, the lorry.
Yeah. Uh, you must say it in the British way.
Right.
No, yeah, there was something. Yeah, there was something that Sherlock said to him, like, like there's gonna be blood and adventure and all these crazy things. Are you in? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like he like really needs that back. He can't. His life is so boring now that he's not, you know, in combat. And yeah, that's definitely. I thought that I have never read Sherlock. I don't know why we never did in school. We never read any. Um, is Watson a veteran in the original books?
I have no idea.
I wonder if he is, because if not, that was a really good idea for them to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great idea
It
if it
makes it
wasn't.
make sense that he's doing this.
Right. Right. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of Watson. Um, I think in the first episode they kind of downplay like Sherlock's drug addiction.
Yeah.
It gets mentioned, but
Wait,
he's
drug or smoking? I forget. I know
drugs.
he smoke. Yeah, does it? What kind of drugs does he do?
I think he does heroin or
Really?
yeah, he does something. Yeah,
Oh, wow. See, I forgot that.
yeah.
Um,
And they kind of explore that in subsequent episodes a little bit more, where he's kind of losing his functionality in life even more so because of drugs.
yeah.
But but even in the original Sherlock books, he was a drug user, so that wasn't anything new.
Huh. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, it's like it kind of makes sense
yeah,
because a lot of really, really genius, smart people did drugs.
yeah. Well, and it's that what it's speaking to is that the coping mechanism,
Yeah.
because like the guy he is so smart and he's wired up in this unique way that really leads him to needing this outlet um, to try and deal with that.
Mhm.
That's a very difficult thing, and that
Yeah.
goes back to what you were just saying with the creative mind, with so many musicians or actors or artists.
Writers
Um,
or yeah.
they just
They're
the
so
way.
overly saturated with input all the time that like, and not just input but like mind work all the time, that like everything's always turning and becoming like a creative project, and it's like so much stuff all the time that a lot of them turn to drugs.
Right, right, right. And Sherlock is very much that same way.
Hmm.
Now, there are so many great characters besides those two
Yeah,
in
Mrs.
Sherlock.
Hudson, one for one. I love her so much.
Yeah,
She's so snarky, and like how she just like implies that they're like gay together all the time, and like she'll like or like she'll be like,
yeah,
Sherlock, what did you do? Like when there's people here, and it's just like she's so freaking awesome. I love her
yeah,
so much. And
yeah.
she like just kind of lets some of it like go over her head, and like not she doesn't worry, and then some of the stuff she's like, oh my god. Like
Right, yeah,
she's so great. I love her.
yeah. She's so funny because she had this really. She'll come out with like these really uh, outlandish, subversive comments sometimes because like her husband was like a big time mobster, or drug dealer, or something, and
Yeah.
she'll
Yep.
she'll allude to like all this crazy stuff that
Like she's
they
been
used
around
to
the
involve.
block and
Yeah, yeah, totally. But yet she's also like, "Would you like some tea and
yeah.
crumpet?"
I love it
And
so
let me
much.
tell you about the time I had an orgy in Florida with 17.
Yeah. I'm like, isn't there one time in like an episode where she opens the refrigerator and there's like some human body part in a jar or something, and she's
Yeah.
just like, whatever, like like she just kind of like just like sees this stuff and just kind of lets it go, but then she also gets like overly worked up over like some random things, and it's so funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's terrific.
I love how she like won't let it go that they're gay. Like she like won't give up
Right.
the idea
Yeah,
that she has.
yeah. I think she wants them to be gay.
Yeah, I think she does.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Oh man.
And I love Mycroft
Yeah.
because in the first episode, like if you don't know Sherlock lore,
Right.
like you think is this guy is he
The bad
a bad
guy.
guy? Is he
Yeah.
like the villain? Um, I think the very first time I saw A Study in Pink, um, I was almost thinking like, wait, is that Moriarty?
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't say his name right away.
They don't. No,
Yeah.
no.
And like they purposefully make it seem like he might be the bad guy.
Right, right. And then
Because
you get
Watson
the
thinks he's the
reveal.
bad guy.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of like we said, it's kind of from his perspective. So, yeah, he's cool. And then let's talk about Moriarty for a little bit. He's not in the first episode, but and he's not even in the first season, is he? I don't know. Anyway,
No, I don't think so.
I think
Maybe
he comes in
in
later.
maybe in the third episode, I forget, but I
Yeah,
think he's
maybe.
second season.
So, oh my God, total crazy. That actor is nuts.
Yeah.
Like that's one of those roles that you feel like damaged him, like the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just like, um, I don't know. He just like seems like totally psycho. Like if I ever saw that guy in real life, I'd probably be like, ah, I'd, like run away.
Right.
No!
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
so much in that role that it's just terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, we can kind of like save the Moriarty talk for another day, but we should just mention that like, yeah, he's totally crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because speaking of characters that we like, um, I also really like how Sherlock is with the police.
Mm-hmm.
Like how he like he'll like use them to his advantage and then just be like not telling them, like when he does like in the Study in Pink where he goes and finds a suitcase and he doesn't tell them and he like has it in his apartment and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, it's fine, don't worry about it. Like he like shoves it away, like despite the fact that it's like majorly illegal, and like he just kind of like tells them what to do, like, and they do
Mm-hmm.
listen. What's the one cop guy in Study in Pink, he's in a few other episodes too.
Yeah,
Like
the main detective. I don't remember his name
yeah,
offhand either.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he like begrudgingly calls Sherlock for help in the weird cases and stuff. And then what I really like is how they don't do like the same format for how Sherlock finds the case every time.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like, oh, the cops called me again, like here's my other case that I'm doing. Like he has people hire him through the blog, and then he'll also like I think there's like a handful or maybe like one or two where he happens upon a case.
Right.
Or like he handpicks one because he thinks it's really interesting. I think that's cool how they don't just do the same format every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like in the first episode, it's just the cops call him for help.
Right. Right.
Um,
I mean, you have to start somewhere, but
yeah. But yeah, I think it's cool how like eventually it's like a business, and like they do those scenes where like he'll be interviewing possible cases. And
right.
no, no,
Yeah.
no. It was this. It was that. It was this. Like he solves it in like a second, and then he just like leave. Like he's waiting for the good ones, kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very selective about what crazy stuff he gets involved with.
Yeah.
And that's because it has to challenge him.
Mhm.
Because
He's
he's
in it for himself.
yeah, exactly. That's definitely the thing about Sherlock is he's not a superhero
Mhm.
saves people for the greater good.
Mm-mm.
A police officer, a detective investigates and solves crimes for the greater good. Sherlock does it because he gets off on it.
Yeah. He doesn't give a crap about everybody else at all.
Right. Right.
Um,
But at the same time, what you see is over the course of the show, and I know we're trying to talk about specifically this episode, but over time you see that he does care about Watson, and then he cares about Mrs. Hudson. He
yeah.
cares about Watson's spoiler alert. Uh,
Yeah.
so but
Yeah.
for the most part, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
absent, outside of a very small, very specific circle of people, like he doesn't give a crap about society.
But even the way he cares about them is pretty selfish. Like, I mean, we can't talk about it now, but in that one episode where that thing happens and Watson doesn't know why,
Hmm.
like the big thing.
The thing that happens with the
Yeah.
thing and the
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Like he
exactly.
totally doesn't, you know, help
Right.
him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was like the
I,
most
I,
secret. I imagine like little black bars over our mouth while we're
right.
talking.
The stuff
um,
and the things. Yeah.
so okay, so we're kind of like getting close to an hour here, but
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing about this specific episode. I do think that this episode it is really good. It opens up to be a really good show right away, but the plot of this episode is weak compared to future plots of future episodes. Like
Yes.
it's kind of like a little bit of a cliche plot. A little bit. Like it
Hmm.
doesn't show itself right away, but later it's like, yeah, it's a little bit of a cliche. Like this guy is like making people do these like pseudo suicidal things. And he does it because he's dying, like we can spoil this one because that's what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
He does it because he's dying, so he doesn't care whether it's like take the pill, this pill or that pill, and one of them's gonna kill you, and I'll take the other one, and it doesn't matter to him because he's dying anyway. And so that's kind of like and it's the taxi driver, like or sorry, the lorry driver. That's definitely done. That's been done. Like, oh, it's the guy that everyone sees and no one thinks about.
Right.
That was even in an episode of Bletchley Circle where like one of the killers was like a train conductor or something. Like it's like, people see him all the time and no one thinks
Hmm.
about it.
Hmm.
So that's kind of done. So this episode is good. It's a little cliche, but then there's parts of it that are like, whoa, like at the end when you find out that the taxi driver is getting paid to do this by Moriarty. He says it
Hmm.
at the end, so he
Right.
is mentioned, but he's not seen until later. Yeah, he has a sponsor, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's like a new
Hmm.
thing, I
Hmm.
think. But yeah, I think this episode's really good. But I can't. I mean, how many podcasts are we gonna do on this show? Did we talk about it?
We didn't
Two.
talk about it. No. Well, I want
Um,
to do more because I don't. I like Sherlock too much to like put it
I
away
know.
for right now.
I think the people want more
The
Sherlock.
people
So
demand.
yeah, in the future we'll talk more about like other episodes that I think they get better. As far as like uniqueness in the plot.
Hmm.
So that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Well, right on. So let's do that for next time. We'll watch a little bit more Sherlock.
Yeah.
Why don't we just
We,
go ahead and talk about season 2 of Sherlock next week?
okay.
So I think most of our viewers and listeners have seen the show already.
They've seen it all. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
if
Yeah.
you haven't, then you can go ahead and check that out. We'll talk about season 2 next week,
Mhm.
and that way we can really dig into Moriarty, um, Irene Adler.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah.
Cool.
Good deal. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Make sure you follow us at Nerd Novice on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Check out our Facebook page.
Yep. Nerd
Megan
Novice.
does an awesome job
Trying
of
to work on it more.
keeping the conversation going there.
Yeah. Hey, I'll be doing that. So check Facebook to see how you can like respond to some of this stuff. Oh, Toonie is stretching on her bed. She's so cute.
Aw.
So, yeah, and then also, I know like on our audio podcast, you already heard this, but on the video, check out patreon.com/nerdnovice. Just go see what it is. Just go look at it. I won't tell you anything. Just look. Patreon.com/nerdnovice. And, yeah. So, Jamesafin, it's been nice.
Megatron, always a slice.
Yes! Rhyming! All the time. So cool. Well, I can't wait to talk about more Sherlock.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll
Go
see
see.
everybody. See everybody next time. Bye.
Bye.